Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the How to Survive podcast, and we're going back to Crystal Lake.
Do we have to?
As ever, every 10 episodes we go back to where it all began, Joe, and that is the Friday the 13th franchise, and this week we are covering Friday the 13th, the final chapter, directed by Joseph Zito in 1984. The final chapter, as we all know, final means the 4th of 11.
Not including remakes.
That is including remakes.
Oh,
okay. Just to recap, Friday the 13th, part 3D, ended with Jason Vorhees finally dead, lying prone in a barn, having been hung until dead, and then had an axe planted in his head. So Jason Voorhees is definitely dead, 100% dead.
We saw his body, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, I presume this is just sort of like, this film just covers the sort of, you know, the sensitive community situation following these horrendous events.
Lives ruined, trying to piece themselves back together,
exactly.
And that's
where we pick up. Maybe it'll be a thoughtful... emotional drama, but perhaps not. So we open on the paramedics cleaning up after part 3D. Jason's body is taken by the paramedics to a morgue, where he quickly wakes up and kills 2 people who work there. Jason returns to Crystal Lake.
He's in the morgue and no one's noticed he's alive.
Would you believe it, Joe? He returns to Crystal Lake, of all places. Of all the places. Jason Voorhees, Crystal Lake. He goes back, where a group of teenagers have gone to spend the weekend. Would you believe it? It's unbelievable. The teens meet the neighbours adjacent to the house where they're staying. It's the Jarvis family. And they also meet a couple of local twins. Twin sisters, in fact, who they befriend. They all go skinny dipping. It's lovely. Wonderful. It's very temperate in that area of the world, that time of year. Friday,
as we've seen.
Friday the 15th, or Sunday the 15th. Because as we know, Friday the 13th, part 3D took place on Saturday the 14th.
Well, I think...
So, presumably, this is... So they're going... Hang on. Because the official synopsis for this film states that the teens are going there for the weekend. Yeah. Right? So they arrive on the Saturday. So that's...
Well, I'm the official apologist for the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah.
My assumption is that Jason's body was recovered on the morning of Sunday the 15th, right? And that fits with what we've seen.
Yeah.
So the paramedics come there. They take him off on Sunday the 14th. They drive him umpteen miles to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So on that evening, the evening of Sunday the 15th, he comes back to life and he begins to walk back to the camp.
Right.
And it may take him 5 days to get there.
I see. So you think this might have taken place on like
the 20th,
Friday the 21st, or whatever.
From the 21st through to 23rd.
Yeah. Or 20th or whenever it was. Yeah. Okay. So we've established the timeline there. It's very, very important that we have a strict and coherent timeline to tie down to. So yeah, they've all gone skinny dipping. It's wonderful. Trish and Tommy Jarvis meet Rob, who's camping in the area, who helps them fix up their car, which is very kind of him.
And he's hunting bears.
He says, with a rifle strapped to his back. That night, the teens have a party and are one by one murdered by Jason, as is Mrs. Jarvis, who finds her house in pitch darkness and goes outside to investigate and is offed. Trish and Rob, whose tent was attacked by Jason, find the bodies. Rob is as it turns out, the brother of Sandra. His name is Rob Dyer, and Sandra Dyer, Joe, you'll remember this because it's crucial in the Friday the 13th canon. Sandra Dyer, I know what you're thinking. She's in. I don't even remember there being a character called Sandra. But Joe, what you're forgetting is Sandra Dyer was in Friday the 13th Part 2,
right.
and she was one of the characters who was murdered by Jason, would you believe? He was actually murdered, killed no less, by Jason Vorhees. She was the girl who was having sex with a man. I know, like, you remember her?
Right.
The girl who's having sex in the Friday the 13th
with her boobs out.
Yeah, and the man. She's having sex with a man, and Jason comes in and kills them both with one spear.
Oh, right, you're right. I remember that. Yeah.
So that's Sandra Dyer. That is presumably that was 6 days ago.
Right.
So Rob Dyer, rather than mourning the loss, he's heard. Presumably on the Monday, Jason has escaped. And Rob Dyer hears about this, and we know that he hears about this because
2 days after.
Because we know that he hears about this because he's got a load of newspaper clippings to do with Jason Voorhees, and for some reason the local papers or national papers even, I mean I presume this is national news, they've taken it upon themselves to write articles about each individual killing rather than as one event because. I don't know why. So he has come to seek out Jason for revenge for Sandra. Do you remember Sandra from Friday the 13th, Part 2? He's her brother.
So not there to hunt bears?
No, he's not there. That's the twist,
So
Joe.
when he said that, I was
twist?
like, well, I don't remember any bears being... But in Friday the 13th Part 2, we were warned about the risk of bears.
Yeah, so he's there to hunt bears, right? And I know what you're thinking, Joe. I don't remember bears, but what you do remember, you're thinking, is I remember Sandra Dyer from Friday the 13th Part 2.
See, this guy looks familiar.
Yeah. So Rob and Trish are cornered by Jason, who kills Rob.
That's really funny. He's got me. He's killing me. He's killing me.
I think what you mean, Joe, is that that's a moment of horrifying pathos.
He's killing me. Ah!
Do you think anyone was watching that? He's going, he's got me. And everyone's going, oh no, Rob Dyer.
The Dyer family.
Oh my God, his parents. First Sandra and now Rob. What are they going to do?
That really is a dire situation.
Oh, nice. Yeah, lovely. So while this is going on, Tommy takes it upon himself to disguise himself as young Jason based on a artist's rendition of what they think he looked like as a child.
Well, I think it's the artist's rendition of what the victim, a surviving member of the first group's party.
Yeah, hallucinated a child ghost.
Yeah, zombie.
Yeah, that came out of the lake. Yeah,
because we got to the bottom of that in episode 2, I think.
In
the Friday the 13th Part 2 episode.
Yeah,
we concluded that that must have been a dream, and the adult Jason was marauding around as an adult.
So the adult Jason bears no link to the hallucinated, decomposing child Jason that the protagonist of Friday the 13th hallucinates, dragging her into the lake.
And thereupon is mimicked in fancy dress form.
So, yeah, Tommy decides to shave his head in order to... so I presume he somehow, his intuition... people say children, they see the world differently. Yeah, right? They're quite perceptive at children.
Yeah.
And what this child has perceived is that this marauding beast of a killer will be distracted for a few seconds by what appears to be the physical embodiment of what one person thought he may have looked like when she hallucinated a child decomposing body version of him, dragging her into a lake many years ago. No, like 4 days ago.
No, it was the year before.
Oh, it was the year before. Sorry, my timeline. Yeah, we need a whiteboard. So Tommy shaves his head. He goes downstairs and he says, "Jason." And Jason turns around, and to in Jason's eyes, the child version of himself is there. And rather than thinking that boy who I saw minutes ago
has shaved his head,
in a painful looking way.
Yeah.
And in a way that in a manner that in no way looks like a bald cap.
No.
To look the spitting image of me. Rather than that, he thinks there is me as a child.
Yeah.
And he's distracted long enough for Trish to take a sort of. It's like she's trying to decapitate him, but she scuffs it a bit, and it whips his mask off to reveal the horrendous visage underneath, which is remarkably similar to the artist's rendition.
Yeah,
but
nothing
grown
the
adult.
child who is. I mean the child Tommy who dresses up as child Jason has a normal face.
Yeah,
not a disfigured one.
Does Jason see every bald person as a version of himself?
Or every bald child with patchy hair who calls his name?
Possibly. We can't assume that isn't the case.
No.
So Jason then moves towards Trish with his mask off, his face out in the open, and Tommy picks up the machete and slams it into the side of his head. And Jason falls to the floor with a machete in his head, and you think, oh, he's fucking dead. Like, I mean, he's survived severe head wounds days ago, but this time, finally, he's dead. And then suddenly his fingers start twitching. You think, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
And Tommy grabs the machete, seeing this, and stabs him repeatedly in the head, screaming, die! And Trish goes, no!
Yeah.
Why? I don't know why. And then Trish comes to in hospital, basically.
Right, yeah. The fright clearly knocked her unconscious.
Yeah, and she wants to see her brother, and then Tommy comes in, and he's still got his shaved head, and he's looking traumatised by the events, as you would imagine a child to be traumatised by the events that have unfolded. They embrace, and Tommy looks off into the distance, a distant, 1,000-yard stare
into the camera, really.
Yeah. And you think, and I mean, like the ending's very powerful, Joe, because you think, I see what they've done here. This is Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is, as we all know, is the fourth of 11 films.
Yeah.
I see what they've done here. The cycle is going to continue anew in the form of Tommy. Tommy is going to become the new Jason.
Wait. Do you think so? What made you say that?
Well, Joe, that isn't what happens, though, is it? What happens is they recast Tommy in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, and Jason comes back from the dead.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I haven't seen it. I didn't know that. So.
Well, there you go.
You've broken my heart.
I have. I'm sure you'll be gutted. But yeah, that is a recap of the events of Friday the 13th, the final chapter. It's the fourth film in the Friday the 13th franchise. It's the fourth Friday the 13th film we've covered. So, Joe, what did you think of Friday the 13th, the final chapter?
Well, Roger Ebert, if I may borrow the words of someone who also saw this film, he says it's an immoral and reprehensible piece of trash. But I think that's to give it too much credit. Because no one watching this could possibly be corrupted by it, because it's so rubbish. But that said, I did enjoy it more than Friday the 13th Part 3.
Okay. If you had to rank the four Friday the 13th films we've seen so far, where would this come?
Well, I like them for different reasons.
Okay.
I like one, Friday the 13th 1, because it's shit. Right? That's why it's good. Mm-hmm. Whereas 2 is like, you haven't got an excuse for it being shit anymore. But it's better. It's a bit better in terms of like the quality of it,
right?
But not much.
No,
I don't think it's possible to rank them. I just like this one better for some reason.
Right? Yeah. It didn't rile you as much as Part 3D did.
No, end of Part 2, end of Part 3D, they were incoherent. At least this one, I go right. I know what's going to happen now. I'm not like what just happened. Like the film doesn't make any sense on the basis of the ending.
Yeah.
There's no questions left unanswered.
No questions left unanswered?
No.
Well, I guess not. I mean, other than how does Jason do any of the things that he does in the film?
Oh, he does a lot, doesn't he, in this one? He's busy.
Well, let's go through, as is tradition, the cast, the troupe of teenagers.
Okay. Well, I've got all the characters here.
Okay.
So I'll give you the actor, I'll give you the character, and I'll explain who that is as well.
Yeah, they're as is tradition, they're one defining characteristic.
So Joan Freeman plays Mrs. Jarvis.
Okay, so she's the mum.
Mum, yeah. Kimberly Beck plays Trish Jarvis. She's sister. Corey Feldman plays Tommy Jarvis, little boy. Eric Anderson plays Rob Dyer, who is Jason Hunter.
Okay.
Barbara Howard plays Sarah. She is Virgin.
Okay. Peter
Barton plays Doug, shower guy.
Okay.
Judy Aronson plays Samantha. She's skinny dipping.
Okay. Well, they all skinny dip.
Well, she
instigates the skinny dip.
No, she dies skinny dipping.
Oh, she dies in the boat. Yeah. Okay.
Alan Hayes is Paul, harpoon guy. Crispin Glover is Jimmy, dead fuck. Camilla Moore is Tina. She's twin 1. Carey Moore is Terry. She's twin 2.
Which one is which? Do you know?
Camilla Moore is Tina. She is stabbed in the back whilst getting on a bicycle.
Right, I see.
And Carey Moore is defenestrated.
Okay.
Lawrence Monison is Ted, who is Dickhead. Bruce Mailer is Axel, who is doctor or orderly.
Okay.
Don't know what his role is at the hospital.
Yeah.
Lisa Freeman is Nurse Robbie Morgan.
Okay.
Stabbed. And Bonnie Hellman is Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hitchhiker. I think that's the worst scene in any film I've ever seen.
Why?
So let's go through that. Recap the scene. So the teens are all driving. They're in a car. They go past, and they see a hitchhiker on the side of the road. And the hitchhiker waves a sign. They drive on anyway. She goes, no, never mind. Sits down, eats a banana, and then just dies. Just gets killed from behind by Jason.
Yes. What's your problem with that?
What is the point of any of that scene?
Because she's fat. It's funny.
Is that really? But like that's like a indicative of everything that's wrong with these films.
Of course,
right?
you're missing the finer points, right? Now, I believe the character Hitchhiker, played by Bonnie Hellman, has taken some sort of vow of silence because she holds up a sign which says, "I'm going to go to Canada," or whatever. But on the reverse of that sign, it says "fuck you." So she's obviously been turned down for rides before. So I think she has chosen not to speak, and instead is speaking through the handwritten sign. And by eating a banana, right? We see a lot of sex in this film.
Yeah.
But it seems like rather than seek out a life of gratification through sex, she's chosen to find gratification in food. Right? And that's, I mean, she's a heavy set girl. In the original script, she was called Fat Girl, right? So I'm not putting my views on this. She is supposed to be fat. So obviously she has some sort of emotional quirk that means that she eats when she feels rejected. And it's when she's in that vulnerable position, she's attacked by Jason, who stabs her in the back of the head, and she, with the last bit of energy in her, she squeezes the banana, and it like falls on the floor, and that has so much resonance. I think rather than being the worst film in any film,
it's fucking shit. That's what it is. It's fucking shit. It's ridiculous. It's like every one of these films we've come in and we've gone, oh, it's really stupid. They introduce all these teenage characters. They don't do anything with them. Like, at least when it was in the last film, we were going, oh, they're trying. It's like they're trying, like they're doing the thing with that girl, and she's arguing with her mum. And then there's the pregnant girl, which, we have our own problems with. But, at least they're trying. With this one, they just go, well, we did that last time. Can't be bothered doing this now. Right? Like, if any character who can be contained within one scene, right, and doesn't serve to tell you anything about any other character in the scene, to progress the story any amount, to add any...
She does tell us that Jason will kill
doesn't add any tension or scares to the film. She's not even killed in a way that's at all interesting.
No.
Right? There's no like, there's no stalking element to the murder or anything. It's literally just she sat there and then it's like spike through the back of the neck or whatever it is. Like completely just arbitrary, really boring. We've seen that sort of death in this franchise 100 times now.
Yeah.
And like it made me so annoyed to just see that one little potted scene.
But it tells you about the people in the car because they're all dickheads.
In the last film, we had the girl, like I said, the girl. I always fucking come back to this because it's the only thing that the series has ever done. Right, the girl who is having an argument with her mum. That's as far as her character goes. You've got the pregnant guy and girls having a baby. You've got the bikers. You remember the story, the character biography for the bikers, right? Yeah. You have it right. Imagine when we watched Friday the 13th Part 3D. Yeah, we watched that.
Yeah,
and we went, oh, all these ridiculous character tropes, right? They're so stupid and shallow and rubbish. Like, I fucking ranted for like 10 minutes about how stupid it was, right?
Yeah. Right? You long for those days now?
Now, I look back on those days fondly, right? Now, it's like the filmmakers back in 1984, they knew that I was going to say all that, and they went, do you know what would be funny?
If we don't even give them that.
Let's not even do that this time. It's so annoying and rubbish. It's really, really rubbish.
No, I agree. I think if before the character traits were tacked on, now there are no character traits.
No, they don't even go that far.
No, like you can't define them by their name because they're so forgettable.
Yeah.
They're called like Doug or.
I don't care about any of them. Like not one.
Do you think that's intentional? So that you're glad when they die?
But they're all so unlikable. Like right from the start. Like there are two girls, right? So there's what, 6 teenagers that are in the car.
Yep.
Right. So there's 2 girls and 2 guys who are like coupled off, and then for some reason they're friends with Crispin Glover and who the weird annoying guy.
Ted. Lawrence Monison.
Yeah, Lawrence Monison's character. Right. Even though I'm pretty sure at no point in the film do we see them interact with the main 4 teenagers at any stage. They only talk with one another.
Yeah, and horribly to each other.
Yeah.
Like they're not even friends.
No, they're not even likable between one another.
No.
But the problem is that the film is utterly devoid of any tension because I don't care about any of the characters. I've seen it all 4 times before.
Yeah,
and I know exactly how it's all going to play out. Halfway through the film, I still didn't know who the protagonist was.
Well, even I just assumed it was the girl who hadn't had sex yet.
As in the sister?
No.
The virgin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought she was going to be going this way. And then the axe came through. It actually surprised me. That's quite...
So you were... Yeah, but like you don't know who the protagonist is, right? So here's my pitch for how they should have done this film and made it better. Make Rob the main character because he's the only one, right, who has any sort of reason for being there that goes beyond we're teenagers and this is what we do.
Yeah.
Right. So he should be the protagonist and they should make a much bigger deal of his relation to Sandra from Friday the 13th Part 2.
It wasn't until towards the end when he said, "Oh, you're going to avenge your sister." Like, when did that get discussed?
Yeah, it's like it gets 2 lines in the film, right?
Yeah.
And
I missed the first one.
Whereas you could have had, the start of the first film opens with the main character, is it Annie, arriving in town, all that sort of thing. And you could have because this is supposedly the final chapter. You could have mirrored that by having Rob arriving in town and having the creepy local people and all that sort of thing again, and having him get to Crystal Lake where it's revealed, maybe through a photo. Then you could have the weird flashback thing that they have at the start, right, or something that he's related to Thingy and that he's hunting Jason. Maybe he sets up his rifle and then puts a news article up about Jason having escaped.
Yeah.
And that's your link into the narrative of the film. That invests you in a character and his motivations and his goals, right?
And it also sets up an enemy for the film.
Yeah, and it sets up, and then like, you know, you could still not have Rob appear and then reappear when the car breaks down, and then you're invested in other, you know. Then when he meets the sister, you know, there's possible, you know, you're thinking maybe there's romance in the air or whatever, and then, you know, you've got all those sorts of things. So it's just a completely missed opportunity. Like, it's like, again, they come so close to having like a character trait that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
They just like skim the surface of it and like bounce back off again. But like, my question for Rob would be, why hunt Jason on his terms when he's already got very recent history of killing literally dozens of people around campsites and lakes?
Yeah. So what would you do?
I don't know, but it's a bad plan.
Alone. Go into the woods alone.
Yeah, what, like...
To take on a man who...
Where are the police?
The way they build up tension, like, at least in the others, they had, like, music playing. But in this one, they do this, like creepy music plays, and someone will walk through the woods and be like, oh... And you go, oh, this is a bit tense. And they'll brush against a branch and go, oh. Then they'll laugh to themselves. And then they're not scared anymore. They're fine. Yeah,
and then a spear will come from off camera through their back. They go, ah! And then it'll cut, and that'll be it.
It's like a loop, isn't it? Of someone gets scared. The other thing that happens in every scene is, like, you know, if we lived together, right? And I came home and went, Chris... Oh, he's not in. Well, I'll go watch telly.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris!
What if the power was out?
Chris! Chris!
Yeah.
Chris! Going through every room. Chris! Chris! Hello? Chris! Hello? Like, there's only a 3-bedroom house. Hello? Chris! Go outside. Hello? Chris! And then you get garroted with barbed wire.
Yeah. It's just... it's a struggle to find anything to say about this film.
Well,
and we're not even halfway through the series. Right? I mean, what? Let's talk for a minute about Crispin Glover's character.
Yeah,
because I think he's playing himself, isn't he? Like, every role I've seen him in, he's identical. He's like this weird, nerdy, but in like a sort of homeschooled way. Like, never interacted with anyone his own age before.
What have you seen him in?
Back to the Future.
That's it.
Yeah.
Every role I've seen him in.
Yeah. Well, 100% of the roles that I've seen him in.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then, so you got him being really weird. Like, just generally...
That dancing
scene is just the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, right? And I know it's supposed to be like, isn't it funny that he's just... But it's not like, he's not a bad... It's not that he's a bad dancer.
No.
It's like he's got like 5 different ideas of what dance is, and he's doing all of them at the same time.
I was watching this with my fiancée, and she said it's like he's the kid in drama class who has too much energy and just wants to show off.
Yeah. It's like... What's even worse as well is the kid watching the couple getting undressed.
Oh, man, that's weird.
Right, it's troubling on a number of levels, right? Because we're seeing what we can assume is the sexual awakening of a small boy, and then his reaction is not the reaction of any person. Like, I just don't understand.
Well, it makes sense, because what his reaction is to sort of like get really angry. It's like punching his pillow.
Well, it's like pent up. I don't know what, like frustration.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's very strange.
And then, but maybe that's it. Maybe he wants to murder kids who have sex.
This whole film is like it's been made by someone who's never had any contact with not only teenagers before, but just like human beings, and like how they interact.
Yeah.
And I
want to talk about the logistics of Jason's like movements,
sure,
if I may. So the first murder that takes place on the campsite, other than, I mean, you've got the nurse and the man at the hospital, whatever he does. So the first one is in the lake. So he swims under the boat and stabs upwards. Yeah. Fine. Then he kills someone else on the lake. From there, he goes outside the house and kills one of the twins. Fine. Then he goes next door and kills someone in the neighbour's garden. So far, so fine. Yeah. Then he goes into the kitchen and kills Crispin Glover. But then he goes outside, climbs onto the side of the house and pulls someone through the window and onto the ground. Yeah. From the second story. Then he goes into the living room and kills someone. Then he goes upstairs into the bathroom and kills someone. Then he goes outside and throws an axe through the front door. Yeah. Then he goes around and prepares the bodies for discovery. Yeah, obviously, as is his MO. And then waits in the basement. Yeah. Like lies in wait. Yeah. It's not a strategy, is it? So much as just the walking around doing weird things. It's There's not. It's like there's two. It's like they're trying to imply there's two killers. If you died, right, and you're found dead by paramedics, right, and then examined, and they found you to be dead, and they took you to a morgue, and then you were put in cold storage. I mean, at some point, someone would take off the mask you were wearing, wouldn't they? At one of those stages, like a due diligence sort of thing. Paramedics, like presumably to check your breathing or your pulse, they would take if you're wearing a hockey mask, they take it off. Yeah, but can you take his pulse? Because he's got like growths all over his body. What? So that you're saying that they can't take his pulse, so they won't bother taking his mask off? I mean, like the one thing struck me is that pathologists must be like really dissatisfied with how they're always universally portrayed as like weird or creepy people in all movies. And like even this, you have like the creepy pathologist guy and he's like eating a sandwich and leaving it on the body, and it's all like the standard stuff that you get, right? I mean, for some reason the morgue is really quiet, despite the fact that they've got like 40 bodies that must be ready to be delivered there, and there's only 2 people working there. Yeah. Then there's the whole like sex thing between him and the nurse. Right. What are they watching on television? I don't know. Because like, is this 1984 television? It's so when the woman walks in the room, on the TV is playing what looks like. You know the video to put "Call on Me" by Eric Prydz, right? Yeah. It's like a yoga class or a aerobics class, and they're wearing like leotards and yoga pants. But there's no sound playing. No. But then she changes the channel, and sound is playing on the other channel, and then they change back to the yoga pants thing. Yeah. And there's no sound playing, which means that whatever that is being broadcast without sound. Yeah. And it's not. It's at a time when normal programming is still taking place because they changed one. It's like BBC One to BBC Two. Yeah. But here's a suggestion, right? I think there is an attempt at a theme in the film, and that is one of voyeurism. Okay. Right. So you get Tommy watching them through the window when they're having like you're about to have sex. You get. The people in the morgue watching the weird yoga video or the aerobics video. Yeah. And then you get Ted watching what is described on Wikipedia as a stag film, which is black and white footage of like hula dancers with their boobs out. Yeah. You got the skinny dipping scene as well, which is sort of voyeuristic. Like both the boy and Crispin Glover's character sort of a bit leering. Yeah. So my suggestion is that the director wanted to have... Joseph Zito, lest we forget. Yeah, wanted to have some voyeurism in the film. Okay. In more than one place. And I think he's done that brilliantly. I think he's done that... No one can say that there isn't voyeurism more than once in this film, can they? That's true. And that's its legacy. That's what it will be remembered for. Yeah. Maybe this is the time to bring this up, okay? Because, as ever... I want to check in on
Jason Vorhees.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Jason Vorhees.
Let's take the temperature.
Yeah.
It's been 3 movies with him being the murderer right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first one was Pamela Voorhees.
So
he hasn't uttered a word yet.
So here are some of my notes that I was taking during the film about Jason Voorhees. Undead? Question mark. Can he breathe underwater? Does he breathe? Do you have an answer?
No. I don't know if we may have heard him breathe.
But he does. You see him breathing when he's
in
lying
the cold store.
Yeah, no, where he's lying on in the corridor on the landing when he's been attacked towards the end of the film.
Yeah,
he's breathing.
When he's in the fridge in the morgue, you see his breath as well.
Right. So he does breathe.
Yeah.
But can he hold like? Oh, anyway. So the news clipping for the morgue, related to the morgue where he was, says that 2 people are missing.
Yes.
So Jason hid the bodies.
That's to be assumed. And they also say that about the woman who's killed at the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2.
Exactly, right.
That she's missing, even though we saw her murdered.
So Jason Voorhees hides bodies, right? Which shows like forethought and a design not to be caught, which are, markers of intelligence, right?
Yes, yeah.
Because he can understand, he can perceive like events and cause and effect.
And threat.
In relation to him, yeah? So then within the space of half an hour, he's then being fooled by a boy who is dressed up to look like himself, to look like a younger version of himself. And he buys that much in the same way that he bought the Mrs. Voorhees disguise.
Yeah.
He is convinced that himself as a child is stood in front of him. So
he's not a smart man. Is he a man?
So he comes back to it. What annoys me is that it's like in the first sequel we have a perfect storm of characteristics that we know or we can assume are the reason that Jason Voorhees takes it upon himself to kill these people, right? Because he's been in hibernation essentially for 30 years up until this point.
Yeah, hasn't killed anyone.
Yeah. And
possibly he killed some people because of the bad water.
Yeah, but the combination, the 2 things that we assume from Part 2 that make him go on his murderous rampage are seeing the death of his mother a year ago and the return of camp counsellors to the area around Camp Crystal Lake, which he sees as desecrating like his holy ground, right? And then it's like the categories for being a Jason target are there. Therefore, teenagers, promiscuous, camp counsellors in Crystal Lake.
Yes.
Right. And it appears that you can fit some of those categories, but not all of them.
Yeah.
For example, Mrs. Jarvis doesn't fit into any of those characteristics, other than she lives near Crystal Lake. Yeah. Which she's presumably done for many years prior to this moment and never become a target for Jason. I thought when they showed Mrs. Jarvis, they were going to have something like where Jason doesn't kill her because she's a mother. Yeah. Right? They don't do that. No. They don't do that. And that is never... She's just killed in a scene where... Like, I think
screen as well, right?
I think this is part of the problem that I have with most of the murdering in this film is that you never understand anything about the victims or the killer because all of the murders take place in like a fraction of a second. Yeah. So there's no time for aside from like the last girl, it always is. Like there's no time for any of them to sort of. You see how they respond to the situation, and you see how Jason responds to them. Right. Yeah. It's just like. Often it's in the back of the head, so they don't even know. Yeah. You don't even see Jason. Friday the 13th Part 3D, you had the bikers who I don't think are teenagers. They're not camp counsellors. They're not seen to be promiscuous, at least not in the events of the film. They went into the barn where Jason was, so maybe he felt threatened. Okay. That I will give you. All right. Mrs. Jarvis has done nothing wrong. Trish has done nothing wrong. Tommy has done nothing wrong. No. in the the context of what we know Jason to.
Right. Yeah. His criteria for killing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's been 4 films now.
Yeah.
And I would say as each film goes by, we understand less about Jason Voorhees than we did previously.
Because things you thought you knew are proven incorrect.
Yeah. So, what do we know, Joe? We always like to talk about what we know. What do we know about Jason Voorhees?
He doesn't talk.
He's a mute, underwater breathing, undead killer who kills promiscuous teenage camp counselors around the area of Crystal Lake, but often none of those things.
And sometimes all of them.
Yeah.
What are his motives?
Well,
we touched on
at
this.
least in this one, he's returning to Crystal Lake.
But it's not at Crystal. This isn't Crystal Lake.
This is Crystal Lake.
It is.
Yeah.
So they live on Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
But they're not camp counselors. They're just there.
They're just teenagers. This is like an Airbnb or something.
And that's what. If it wasn't for the family, it would all be fine. It's like maybe he just gets confused, but you can't. Because the first one was Jason died and his mum wanted revenge.
Yeah.
The second one.
First one, perfectly understandable.
Yeah. The second one, Jason saw his mother murdered and wanted revenge.
Yeah.
Fine.
Perfectly understandable.
Third one, Jason was taking sanctuary in this farm.
No, well, before that, the shop. He kills a shopkeeper and his wife, ostensibly to gather supplies.
To get dungarees and a mask.
Yeah. So and then hides in a barn and they disturb him. So he kills all of them, right? But it's not about. It can't be about concealing himself because he actually actively goes out and murders them all.
Yeah.
This film almost has a theme of if you have sex, then you end up dead. Because the morgue, the mortician and the nurse, they, nearly have sex at the start. That's enough to enrage Jason.
Yeah.
Then most of the teenagers, canoodle in one way or another. Apart from Mrs. Jarvis, Tommy, the girl who leaves the party, who gets killed.
Yep.
Which, incidentally, as well, all of the I feel like all of the deaths in this are pretty by the numbers. But that one, I think, is the first murder in 4 films that we've seen where they've tried to do something visually interesting.
What, with the silhouette?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time it's just a knife coming through skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought the skull crush was quite...
in the last film?
No, this one. He grabs the guy's head and crushes it with one hand.
Do you remember when we were talking about Friday the 13th Part 3D? And I'm going to give it its full name every time.
Yeah.
We talked about how much pressure you'd need to generate with your hands in order to crush a human head.
Yeah. He did this with one hand.
Yeah, he's been working out, basically.
Yeah. All right. How would you survive?
Don't camp at the site of very recent murders, i.e. within the last 48 to 72 hours.
Yep.
Because especially when the killer is on the loose.
At large.
Yeah.
Yep.
If there was an area where that you knew there was a campsite, and there was a history of murders, and you were specifically within the sort of target audience for those murders,
the demographic,
then avoid that.
Yeah, don't go there. Fair enough.
That's
I've got one. Just chill out about sex. Like, everyone in this film is just like, oh, we're gonna have sex. Oh, you can have sex with me. Will you have sex with me, please? Oh my god, I want to have sex so bad with everyone. Like, just chill out. Like, if you weren't all so focused on getting your end away, you'd survive the film, I think.
So you're saying that sex isn't such a big deal?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, basically what I'm saying. It's not the big deal they're making out to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it is when you're 16 or whatever.
How old are they supposed to be?
Because they were played by 25-year-olds. Like, oh, well,
Right. What year did Back to the Future come out?
85.
So this came out in 1984. Crispin Glover goes from playing a 16-year-old to in his next film in the following year playing a father of 3.
Amazing.
And they're the same character as well. It's been a busy year.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh dear. If I was Rob, I would. If I was Rob and I'd come to an area with the express purpose of hunting down a mass murderer, I would keep my gun on me at all times, especially when I'm investigating a mysterious noise,
which could be a bear.
Yeah, well, it could be anything. Yeah, like a bear, Jason, anything.
Yeah,
always pays to have your gun on you, right? He squanders his preparedness, right?
Yeah.
We've just been saying how every character in all of these films, they just go outside going, "Mom, are you there?" And then they just die, right? Yeah. This is the first character who knows what he's up against and he's prepared and he just leaves his gun in a tent for no reason. So he deserved to die.
Fair enough. My tip is not to go swimming at night alone. Naked.
Twice that's worked out badly.
I don't think anyone's gone into the lake at night and lived to not regret it or died and regretted it.
I wonder what the most frequent type of death that we've seen during our time recording this podcast is, because skinny dipping alone at night is probably right up there, because it happens twice in the Friday the 13th franchise and it happens in Jaws.
Yes. And to an extent, in It Follows, she's not skinny dipping, and it's not night. It is night time. She doesn't die. Forget that. Yeah.
Any more?
What, frequent deaths?
No, just.
Well, stranger danger. If you just met someone, don't take them to your house, and then use these words when they leave. Come back whenever you want. If we're not home, we normally leave the door open.
Good. Solid advice as well if you're living in an area with an insanely high crime rate.
Yeah.
Oh.
My final one, and this is based on perhaps knowledge that characters wouldn't have, but I do have and would use to my advantage.
Use.
Yeah. If I was Tommy, who is somehow an expert special effects coordinator, and makes. This is the 10-year-old boy, right? And I guess the gag is supposed to be that because he makes rubber masks, he is therefore able to create the illusion that he is Jason. These rubber masks are compelling, and there's dummies and stuff that look like Jim Henson creations.
Yeah.
He's very, very talented, is what I'm saying. Make a mask of Mrs. Voorhees' head in order to use your ability to control Jason by taking on the role of Mrs. Voorhees, by just say, Jason, listen, you know your mother loves you, now fuck off.
Well, as you say, that is using knowledge that that our protagonists wouldn't have. Yeah.
Well, just throwing back to the last Friday the 13th episode we recorded, we had some predictions.
Sure.
There were... I had 2 and you had 4.
Okay.
Would you like to hear them?
Absolutely.
So Chris predicted that there would be a Joker character.
Which I maintain is Ted.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that one. Because he's supposed to be the Joker character.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't react in any of...
None of them have ever been funny.
No.
In this franchise.
No, but I mean, at least some of them wore silly wigs and they were like, oh, look at me. He doesn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
He's just a bit brash.
Yeah.
Police officer murdered.
No,
we had a health professional murdered in this one, but no policeman.
Damn.
You say the final survivor will be a girl. So half point for that because there were 2 survivors, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And the final confrontation will be strung out over 20 minutes. Which may or may not be the case.
Well, from the moment that Rob meets Jason in the basement.
He's got me. He's killing me.
I'd say that's close.
Okay. And then
what about your predictions?
Well, I said that a sex scene would be followed by a double murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
Well, yeah.
They weren't killed like with one swing of an axe.
In the last couple of films, though, there've been people murdered at the same time, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like, so it's the couple that gets speared with one spear.
Yeah.
And there's another one which is similar, I think.
Well, Kevin Bacon was stabbed whilst in bed.
Yeah.
But she'd left the room.
No, but in two people get speared with one thing, and I think in the third one...
No, the third one was the pregnant girl who had sex, and...
They have sex in a hammock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not together when he kills them.
No.
He's walking on his hands, you'll recall, I guess.
Yeah.
My last prediction was Jason will be killed and left for dead, which is incoherent in itself, but coherent within the film.
We don't see him being left for dead.
No, that's true. There's no close-up of his body, like ding, ding, ding.
No.
Let's make our predictions now for Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning.
Okay, I think Corey Feldman will be recast.
Well, you can't do what you know. It's going to be thematic predictions, if you will.
I think that they're going to make Tommy a new protagonist for the next 2 films.
So you think Tommy will be a hero for 2 films?
Yes.
But
so
you know that to be true.
No, I don't. I don't know whether I know that he's in the next film.
Okay.
And I don't know what role he plays.
Okay. Well, my prediction is that Tommy will be killed in the next film.
Okay.
So counter to yours. I think that a police officer will be killed in the next film.
Oh, you're just taking my prediction for this one.
Yeah. And putting it to better use.
It's hard to say anything that you know, like, because I was going to say something like Jason won't be dead, but we know that Jason is dead. Yeah. I think that there will be an attempt at better character development, and given that I think that Tommy will become a main character, I think his friends will be the other main characters.
Okay.
And I think that they will be slightly better fleshed out.
I think you're wrong, but we'll see.
Have you seen the next one?
No. Okay. And I guess my final one, I think a body will be thrown through a window.
I think that a character will venture outside of a building into a dark area, either looking for someone or investigating a noise, and they will walk over to an area and go, and then they'll suddenly be killed.
I predict we'll see naked breasts.
Okay. I think teenagers will be murdered.
I think someone will wear a hockey mask.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry if we sounded a bit lethargic. Thankfully, this is the final chapter of the Friday the 13th franchise. 4 down, Joe.
Yep.
Only 7 more to go.
That's only taken us 14 months, so worry not.
So thanks again for listening to the How to Survive podcast. If you've got any thoughts or feedback, if you'd like to make predictions for the next Friday the 13th film, if you're watching them along with us, or, obviously don't email in if you know what's going to happen, because we'll just ignore you. But
spoil it for us, won't you?
Yeah, just email your feedback or thoughts generally to howtosurviveshow@gmail.com.
Or you could head over to our website, HowToSurviveShow.com, and see our full range of films, including the Friday the 13th franchise, The Martian, The Revenant. They won Oscars for various things, didn't they? And we've got a few films coming up as well, haven't we?
Yep.
What's up next?
Up next, we're going to look at another slasher, as is our usual
pairing.
And next week, we're going to be talking about You're Next.
So You're Next is next. And after that,
So after your next, we're going to have 2 sort of new release films paired together, and that's going to be 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Sure.
And then after that, we're going to cover The Witch, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, that's got the guy who plays Chris Finch, right?
Yeah.
And Dag McClefjaw.
Yeah.
The voice like that. Yeah.
There's evil in the wood.
Yeah, that would be very good. So if you've seen them or you're going to see them and you want to tell us how you'd survive, send them in. HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com. And in the meantime, take your phone out of your pocket right now. Just follow my instructions. Phone out. I'll wait. Now you got your phone out. Unlock the screen. Open iTunes. Now go to search. Type in How to Survive. Okay, click on our logo. It's the black and white one. Thanks. And then click Write a Review. 5 stars.
Yeah.
And then just write wherever you like and then press send. That would be lovely. Thanks very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the 5-star reviews that you leave us. So thanks very much for listening as ever. We will be back next week. And we look forward to 10 weeks' time where we can once again cover another one of our favourite films, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Yep.
Cheers for listening. So, Joe, where are you going to go now?
I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going crazy!
What is that? I don't even
That's
remember
what the nurse says that.
All right.
Where are you going now? I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going crazy! Such a shit film. I've taken my headphones off. I'm still recording. I've taken my headphones off. That's how bad the film is.
Yeah. Do you know This American Life?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll. Wait, hang on, I might try and record an intro, like a This American.
This is very good.
Yeah. From HTS West London, it's How to Survive. I'm Chris Morris. Each week we talk about stories based around a theme. This week it's making amends. Have you ever wanted to do something so badly, needed to do it, that maybe you end up doing it badly and getting it wrong, not focusing properly? Rob Dyer was one of those guys. His sister was killed in a horrible murder, and he returned to try and track down the men responsible. But he screwed up. It's not easy sometimes. You know how it is. You're trying to do something, you do it badly. How do you make amends? Here's Rob.
Yeah, I was out of the lake and I was gonna kill Jason Vorhees because he killed my sister.
His sister was Sandra Dyer. She was part of the Camp Crystal Lake massacre.
So I was out there. I was gonna kill him. I had my gun and everything, but eventually he got me and he was killing me. And I said to Trish, he's got me, he's killing me. And he did. He killed me.
Rob Dyer was killed that day. But coming up, we got other stories. This week's episode, Crystal Clear.